Welcome to a podcast capturing the antics of two geeks who talk about video game culture and influence, both old and new, all through chaotic banter and tangential tangents that make no sense. My name is Mask.
We'll do a marathon.
This is my pal Red.
I got my triple combo, you got the special move off, we're done. That was good enough.
And together we make the Reddmasq Podcast.
This is episode 8. I might just keep the segment on, AI, because, driving cars with DualShocks is funny, but we're trying not to talk about AI this episode. And if I don't keep it, then whoop-de-doo.
The only good AI is video game AI. And even then, I'm not so sure. What do you fucking mean you're reading my inputs?
Yes, SNK bosses everywhere. Rejoice.
Yes. Oh, God. You get right into game difficulty.
Tool-assisted AI.
Want me to talk about my arcade experience?
Yes, we can jump into that.
So there's this place near where I live. It's like a little amusement zone. So walk in and you walk in and you can just walk around. And there's a bunch of different little attractions. You got your VR spot. You got a Nerf dart arena, a 3-point shooting challenge, stuff like that.
So
very
it's
basic
like a Dave &
stuff.
Buster's sort of thing, but there's a big catch to that because it does have old school arcade stuff from what you're telling me.
Yes, it has a bunch of machines that are all 1UP Arcade brand because it makes it very accessible, makes it very easy to do. It's like a Dave & Buster's but more small scale and local. Because
Right.
the thing is, in the all around the middle of the room are these massive, these not really massive. They're pretty big though. They're like big flat screen TVs in around a couch, and there's a big couch area around it with tables and stuff. Because the idea is that they're one of their main attractions. You can rent one of those little spots out for yourself in a party. A little Xbox there that you can play.
Oh, so you can actually bring your own consoles and stuff too.
I don't think you can bring your own consoles. I think they just have an Xbox set up that you can use.
Oh, okay.
And then
Sure.
I would have to double check with that because I don't know, because that's not what we went there to do. Because you can also just use the TVs to watch shit. They just have sports on by default because I guess that's the kind of people they're pulling in. But there's a whole ass 16 of those TVs and game consoles set up in a box in the middle of the area. And the area was an old Marsh grocery store, the old version.
People in the Midwest would know what that is. I do not know what that is. We just have Wegmans and Tops.
Yeah. It's similar. It's, speaking of Midwestern grocery stores, Myers. Anyways, it's just Meyer actually. But Marsh was this grocery store chain that went out of business some years ago, and there was an old building near me, as well as a newer building that they moved to. That when they went bankrupt, that also went empty. But this little arcadey place took the older part in the strip mall part. Yeah, so that the big main attraction, quote unquote, is those TVs and things you can rent out. And there's a snack bar and an actual bar. But I went with my friend who came over, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go to that place you told me about this time?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we went. All of their arcade machines were the 1UP Arcade, like I said, and they were all set to free play. We got to do a good chunk of games that they had on display there. There was NFL Blitz. There was a good chunk of fighting games. There were some classic arcade games. There was the Atari collection where you have Centipede and Millipede and Asteroids and all that.
Right, yeah, all of the arcade setups that are self-contained with Arcade 1UP are collections.
Oh yeah.
Here's a stupid question. Were they on the risers as well, or did you have to hunch down to play the machines?
We had to hunch down to play the machines. There were probably there were probably some seats nearby we could have used, but we were stupid and didn't do that.
Well, I mean, you're gobsmacked enough of just an old arcade scene in your area, basically.
Yeah.
This stuff is hard to find. Arcades,
and it was funny.
Are historically and famously not profitable and always disappearing.
Yeah.
Even Super Arcade's revival in some parts of the West Coast just could not actually. They couldn't stay alive, so they had to close up shop. So seeing an arcade out in the open, still alive and kicking, love to see it.
Yeah, it opened some time ago. Like like when I first moved here, that shit was empty. And then like a couple years after I moved here, it was there. So it's recent-ish. So they were all set to free play. It was really funny though, because since they're one-up arcade machines, they have like little on-off switch on them that you can that's like right in front of you. And so some of the machines were off, and I was like, why don't we just turn them on? They're not out of order. They're just turned off because the kids are stupid and will just press every button even if they shouldn't.
Right.
But the first machine we touched, it was a really quick arcade racer similar to Outrun, but like your end goal is to apprehend some criminal. And so you're just basically doing Outrun until you get to that part. And now when you get to that part, the person you're trying to apprehend is surrounded by a bunch of guys on motorbikes you have to like take out, and then you have to wreck the guy's car by running into it like 3 times, and then they give up and you apprehend them. I got through level 1 before I was like, all right, let's actually play a multiplayer game now. I don't know what the name of the game was, because since it was free play, it was a game that was designed to go away from the title screen. It like when you have a credit in that game, it shows the map and then it says press start.
Do you remember like the marquee that you were playing on though? Maybe like it was like a Namco collection or something.
No, it was a weird piece. It was a weird piece of shit. Actually, it was a top down. It was a top down machine for some reason with controls out the side rather than the ends, and I don't understand.
Arcade tables, they're just an aesthetic. It's cool.
Yeah, so like I was like looking down at it, but I did one level just to see what it was, and then we moved on to a multiplayer game. The next game we did was like they have 2 Terminator 2 Judgment Day machines, which are very old, like some of the proto light gun game, like a proto light gun game.
I was telling Red about like there's like old Sega Menacer like light gun add-ons for this game in particular. Like you can still play this like at home, a completely different version, but like the original arcade version, yeah, apparently there's a little bit more to that I didn't know from this excursion that you had, like the fact that the game is hard as balls.
Oh yeah, the game is fucked. Even on free play, the game is fucked up. I'm looking it up to figure out who made this. So I've based on how the game looks, I was like, this is a midway game, and it is. It is very much a midway game, and God forbid it's hard like one too, because not only is there's like a whole bunch of shit to it. Because like, God, I have to explain it. So the first level, so we only got to level 3, because level 3 is when you have to protect John Connor on his shitty fucking truck as he fails to shoot down helicopters. You have to shoot the helicopters down for him, and then but like that's not all, because there's a bunch of T-whatevers running alongside the truck, and it's fucking hilarious to look at, because they're just the Flash running while looking right at you and firing because they're fucking robot. It's hilarious to look at.
Like early grade A sprite work right there. It sounds like.
Yeah, their walk cycle is sped up to like 10 times, so it looks goofy.
Yeah.
But the real so that's to kill you. The helicopter you're just supposed to be firing at to protect John Connor. The problem is the truck takes up like 80% of the fucking screen. Like there's 10% of the screen above that you can fire. That's probably hyperbole. It's more like 60%.
Yeah.
But like the top of the screen, there's like 20% of the screen above that you're supposed to shoot the helicopters through. And the game makes it clear that there's a friendly fire for your human allies. So it's like, maybe don't shoot the truck or John Connor or you'll fail too. So I was like, shit. So you have like this big thing you have to be careful to not do too much damage to, while endoskeletons are running around it trying to shoot you as well. And there's helicopters that are like riding really, like they're like just like they actually ride behind John Connor. Like when you look at the screen, he's like standing in the truck bed firing,
really,
and like the helicopter
like that action movie, like 80s vibe that they really had going on there. It's so good.
And the helicopters are like flying behind him, firing at him. They're like you just have this really tiny window that you can shoot them at, and it's just if the truck blows up, that's a game over. You go back to you retry the level. You don't go back to level 1, but you retry the level and you take a massive health penalty because of it. It's fucked, and that's why free play doesn't help, because free play doesn't help if you have to beat the level, or if you don't, you restart from that level. Like you have to get good at it, but it's an arcade game trying to rob you of all of your money.
So like, most
getting
games
good
do that the right way, like
Yeah.
just freeze you right there, House of the Dead. Oh, you just died to a zombie. You want to continue? You have 9 seconds to put in some more money, and you'll start right where you left off. Nope, not in this game.
And the game was already pretty, like, we were already taking some deaths every now and then, because it was like, you know, there's just a bunch of assholes firing at you, and sometimes you just eat bullets because you're bad.
Yep.
This is a actual skill check, where if you can't beat the level, you don't get to play the rest. And the first 2 levels are just your general, like, you're walking around a scenario, shooting at endoskeletons while your allies or random humans are just around, and you have to make sure you don't shoot them, and so on and so forth. It's like a basic-ass war zone. But I watched a tool-assisted speedrun of this game before, and the person who did it, there are multiple endings to the game, where on the very final level, you're in the Skynet office, and your goal to get the good ending is to blow up literally everything. Every single thing that can be blown up needs to be blown up if you want the good ending. And the tool-assisted speedrun I watched didn't even get that.
They couldn't shoot things fast enough, or there's RNG in play. One of
those. They could not shoot things fast enough. That's so turbo fucked. So, like, you get, like, the regular ending where the bad future still comes to pass, but you're making sure that the resistance lives on. But with the good ending, basically just means that you've taken out Skynet, and now the bullshit will never happen. Also, you're both technically Arnold Schwarzenegger, because when you get to the end of a level, and you're just both Arnold.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. T2, the light gun game, is so goddamn old school. And all the good and bad that comes with it, because game devs in the arcade years were trying so hard to figure out how hard they could push their players to keep giving them money.
Yeah, it was really
that was the
about
whole
the
point.
Arcade quarter culture. Just like, how hard can we make this game so people will pay us for it? It's the same thing with, like, NES game design. It's just like, how much difficulty can we just artificially inflate Battletoads so that kids will rent it out for the video store one more week to try to beat the Turbo Tunnel section? It's
like, and God forbid, and if you get past Turbo Tunnels, that's just the beginning. Anyways. Yeah. But, like,
Please play Battletoads on a different fucking console, like from PAL or Japan. Like, you will just have a better time.
Here's a hot take: you can play it on Rare. Play it on Rare. I would recommend that, actually. Play it on Rare Replay if you can, because there's 2 things about that version. One is they have a setting to enable infinite lives, so that because some levels infinite lives means you can just cheeseball it, but a lot of the levels you can't if you have to hit a checkpoint. And the second thing they did was they fixed the second player bug, where on Klinger Winger, player 2's inputs just don't fucking work. And that's the level where it's all timing your D-pad presses to make sure you don't die and you stay ahead of the ball. So play Rare Replay. It's great. I'm sure.
Rare Replay, yes.
But I have to continue on this, because when it came to game development back then, they were more like, the game developers were more or less making a middleman for the customers, because, like, they were giving their games, they were selling their games to video rental stores, to arcades, and they're not a charity. They need their money too. So the whole point of them making these games try to take your quarters and be so hard that you make multiple rentals was so that these companies they were selling to could then make the money as well. It was this really weird, like, ecosystem where the game devs were some jank-ass middleman.
You know what happens when you push your players too far, though? You get Game Genie.
Yeah.
That's the flip side of this, though. Like, if you push your, like, like, money-grubbing hands too far with this sort of thing, you get Game Genie, which back in the day, if people remember, of course, if they don't, Galoob versus Nintendo ended up being a court case over this, because, like, People were using Game Genie. Nobody really understood how it worked. Was it going to damage your game? Was it going to damage your NES? Was it going to modify your save file and make your game unplayable? No. The answer to that was all no. It was simply just patching game files in order to grant infinite lives or infinite jump or just
It was
modify the code. In the court case, they actually noted it was like skipping segments of the game, like fast
It was just
forwarding
hex
a
editing.
movie. It was basic hex editing, yeah.
That's all it was. It's hex editing.
We
You're doing
understand a lot more about computers now than we do back then, for sure.
It's basic bitch programming, hacking with hex code. That's all it is.
Made accessible to the public.
But like just talking about like it's because the large part of it was figuring out how hard they could push that line without going overboard. So
Right.
you get games where you're playing a light gun game and you're getting forced damage so they can take your quarters while you're having fun, or they're so balls to the wall hard while still being fun that you keep trying. And like my least favorite form of it, I think, which also comes from the fact that it's a fighting game thing, Street Fighter Alpha 3, when you get to the final stage and face off against M. Bison,
Yes.
if you lose, you get the bad ending and you have to start all over.
Because you didn't pay enough money and like beat the game fast enough. You didn't master it. You don't get to see the good ending. You didn't beat Eggman in 15 seconds in Sonic Championship.
Yeah, God, that also counts, isn't it? Even though it's like even though the AI in that game is piss easy and you can just mash.
That is true, yeah, but like it still applies for your example here.
There was never any time I've played that game a couple times in my life, and I've never failed to not beat Eggman because the game's a little easy with the AI. Never gonna play it against anybody else though, because it's fucking rather not.
Oh, come
You're
on.
you're not dragging me into Sonic the Fighters.
I'll find a way. I will find a way.
I'm done ranting about bullshit arcade game design.
Right.
I'm moving on to the one arcade game that we actually spent a good chunk.
Actually played, yeah.
We spent a whole bunch of time playing. They literally had like 2 Simpsons arcade machines. One was in the bar area.
Konami's Simpsons arcade game. Fuck yeah.
Konami.
That and Turtles in Time were 2 of the best beat 'em ups back in the 90s.
They had the TMNT one-up arcade machine as well, so they had both.
Multiple in that one. It's good
It
stuff.
had both the original, which I remember playing at Chuck E. Cheese as a kid, and also Turtles in Time with the 4-player goofiness. So my friend and I went over to the Simpsons arcade game, and we both chose our characters because depending on what each character's on their own slot. So Marge is 1, Homer's 2, Bart is 3, Lisa is 4. And there is kind of a reason to pick certain characters over others, and they're all like in the combo attacks. Because in that game, if you and another player stand still on each other for a short period of time, you'll basically combine your characters and start like have like a combo attack, and it's based on what 2 characters combine. So Marge and Homer, they start rolling around in like this weird ball 69 form. Don't ask, it's weird. But you basically just become a hurt box. So it's useful for like just running around and fucking shit up. Same goes for Bart and Lisa, but they just hold hands and yell really loud. If you have Homer and a kid, they pair up and you get like doubly powerful attacks because you're both like he's just holding them on his shoulder and they both swing whenever they throw a punch. If you do Marge and a kid, Marge will pick them up, and then if you hit the attack button, she'll throw them, and they'll go back and forth across the screen as a hitbox, just dealing fucking whatever. So those are like the main reasons why you would choose certain characters over others. But that's it. He and I did Homer and Bart. I was Homer, he was Bart. I got double the score than he did at the end. I destroyed him at the 2 button mashing mini games.
Nice.
But the whole time I was just like, I've watched because it's The Simpsons and it's an arcade game, and I can watch people play it on YouTube over and over and over again and see like, oh, let's watch a 4-player TAS of this shit where they just demolish everything, or just watch 4 randos go at it and die multiple times because they have free play. It was fun. I got to enjoy my time playing through it for the first time in my life.
You and I were going through a little bit of my arcade history through some pictures the other day. It's similar to this. Like the old Arkanoid machine that I found that someone broke and left on that screen.
because they just got the ball stuck in a corner there and it wouldn't soft lock unless you actually move the paddle anymore.
It's a soft lock in the biggest air quotes known to man. It's soft locked until you hit something and change where the ball goes. It's that easy.
It's funny, yeah.
He just got stuck in an infinite loop because you can do that sometimes.
But yeah, the Simpsons arcade game I saw in like the arcade museum history collection that they had at like our local museum during like I want to say like 2013, and then like that one game store, and like that was it. So like if I get a chance to play this, I'm gonna be trying that.
I think once we finished that, he and I touched Killer Instinct.
Ooh, yeah, you were telling me about this, and I was just like, you guys played a couple of rounds of this, right? And did you get to see
one
Red's
match.
famous anger gamer rage?
So like, I have I'm not very proud of this. I get pretty damn mad if I get frustrated at a video game.
And
you got to hear a lot of
fighting games, yeah.
You got to hear a lot of it when we played Mario. We did the co-op mod for Mario 64 and got 120 stars.
Talking about that too.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
talk about that later. But this KI round, it was just one match because how it went was there was one special move that happened in the whole match. It was from him. He was playing Glacius. And it was like a projectile. That was all it was. And most of our match was us button mashing.
Right, because you didn't understand like how the combo system works. And like old school KI is such a memorization heavy game. And like even getting your auto doubles requires memorization compared to like modern KI. It is just
to my credit. To my credit, I button mashed out a triple like at the start of the round. I did. I was like, it's like, okay. What would count as a combo? Was it light, medium, heavy? Okay, maybe that worked. I don't know. It gave me the triple and a good chunk of score. I'm happy about that. That's my claim to fame. I got a triple. I lost. He got a special move off. I couldn't find a TJ combo special to save my damn life. But that was all we did. Because once that happened, I was like, there's not enough happening here for us to keep playing this. We don't have the aptitude to start hunting down all these different inputs.
Or like watching combo videos like at the arcade. There is no time for that.
And then we like started walking around seeing what else they had. We didn't really play anything else, but we did look at it. We saw the NFL Blitz machine. We saw they had an X-Men versus Street Fighter
awesome.
machine as well.
Yeah,
very awesome. And then we saw the TMNT machine. And then we walked around, started inspecting stuff. We ordered some snack food. I went to the bar and got myself a bottle of Angry Orchard.
My friend came over. Actually get beer at your arcade. It's like paradise. Truly.
Yeah, and he came over and we went to the Atari collection machine and we attempted to do 2-player Centipede in which he controlled the ball and I controlled the firing. He didn't know that you're supposed to shoot the centipede to beat the level. So
it's literally in the title of the game. I was just talking about, like, have you ever seen Pixels by Adam Sandler? If not good, then you saved yourself the trouble of seeing an Adam Sandler movie.
I even told him, you're supposed to shoot the thing the game's named after. Stop shooting the mushrooms. Stop shooting the mushrooms, please.
I love the trackball on the actual game arcade cabinet, too. Did they have that? I bet they had that.
It did. It did have that, because it was also like, it also had, like, asteroids and shit on there. We got killed by a spider at one point. That's how bad we were doing. But
those are just random movement.
Yeah, kind of. I think they move up, down, and in diagonals.
Yep.
45-degree diagonals. But yeah, that was like the extent of all we played because we got our food, we ate them. But I have to give a mention of the bar area. Because the thing about the bar area, well, actually I have another thing to say. The bar area was nice because it was just, you have your bar, right? And there's some machines in there. But more than that, they have these mini table machines, like these little tiny little things for 2 players that you can play while you're sitting at the bar.
So you didn't just have like the tabletop barcade set up at one of the machines. You had like the half machines that were like planted at the bars. Those are cozy.
You think half machine? Yeah, imagine them being half
like
size.
No, off the bottom half of it. Yeah.
No, not even that much. Hold on, I have to give you. As a size thing, it was still a 1-up arcade machine.
Yes.
It's literally something you can put in your fucking lap.
Yes.
That's how small. That's how small it is. But like we looked at the machines they had. I think they had an NBA Jam one. They had another Turtles in Time one for 2 players, and then we saw we saw Marvel superheroes as in the fighting game.
Yes.
And I was like, oh yes, I can't wait to play that on a tiny ass arcade machine with my greasy ass fingers of mozzarella sticks.
Pizza greased arcade fingers.
Fucking awful.
God.
They've been awful. I'm already bad at fighting games. I already saw what we did at Killer Instinct. Imagine us doing that, but with Marvel superheroes. Ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did yesterday.
This episode does not have a sponsor. We just want to bring people in to kind of take a look at the show, see what we have going on. If they like us, support us. Go to coffee.com/mask31 and check out our page, and feel free to consider donating. There is a bit of a dive I had to do the other day. Portal 64, as you know, was a mod made by... I'm going to get the facts here.
I remember, I think I know Portal 64 off of one thing, when he was talking about the Portal paradox.
James Lambert did the whole mod remake of Portal 64 here. The thing with the mod is, like, this was a fairly comprehensive one. It actually used some files from, like, the Portal VPKs, from, like, Valve's own tool set. Like, to actually install this originally as a ROM that you can actually run on, like, N64's hardware-wise, not just through emulators, you would actually have to provide your original Portal installation and, like, the whole folder and everything to kind of build the file, so...
Oh, so it's similar to there was a GTA mod that got nuked from Orbit that was like it imported one of the old GTA maps into the newer GTA, and you needed to have the original map to even do it, but it still got
it's using the original files and it's recompiling them into something that the N64 can like process and understand. The issue with this particular mod, I mean, it was recompiling everything and just like making it so it was viewable in like the N64 through the tool set that they were given. However, the SDK that James Lambert was using supposedly was one that it speculated that the problem that Valve had with this was that the SDK was used from Nintendo's GigaLeak, which was a result of a cybersecurity incident where a lot of Nintendo files ended up in the hands of hackers who then leaked it to the internet and caused reputation and brand damage. So, as a result of that, James Lambert ended up using that SDK instead of one that was free and open source, so the mod itself was problematic for that reason. That wasn't the only reason, though. Valve, like, preemptively looked at, like, the content that was going into this mod for Portal 64, and there was a lot of media coverage. MVG, who does, like, actual, like, did work for, like, some of the cores in, like, RetroArch, if I recall correctly. He ended up featuring Portal 64 on his channel. It uses a lot of really nice tools. One of the other things this uses, which I'll get to later, is a JS ROM patcher tool, which is actually connected to a few other games, which, out of preemptive caution, I've taken a look at, but, like, we'll get to that. I'm getting off track.
We always are.
I mean, good. That's part of our show. Valve took a look at the game itself, and, like, their trouble that they had with, like, Nintendo already through Dolphin's emulation tools, like, they had to take down the Dolphin emulator due to the fact that it could run on their Steam Deck. That was a major point of concern, because, I mean, you can't just buy a Steam Deck and play Nintendo games on it, you have to buy a Switch for that, right? That's the real rub there. They can't, like, sell one game console and say it's doing another thing, otherwise you'll get in hot trouble with lawsuits and things like that, even if it's only a core. Switching over to a different, like, development SDK for the N64 would help that out, but, like, even James Lambert himself said he was hesitant about it and kind of abandoned ship with the project, so... It is a really sad thing to kind of see, and it's unfortunate, and a lot of the, like, mod community is still kind of, like, figuring out, like, what this means. Going back to the JS ROM patcher that I was talking about before, there's a lot of other games this was connected to. The list of that includes things like Smash Remix,
Mad Piano.
Mad Piano. That is something we talked about last episode, and is a great little project that I hope Nintendo does not take down because of all the copyrighted material that's going in for that, God forbid. But, like, if you look at, like, the modding scene of Brawl and everything else, like I've mentioned before, it seems to be doing okay as long as you don't tread on thin ice. What else the JS patcher is connected to is a couple of Pokemon ROM hacks, as well as most stuff from romhacking.net, which is encompassing a lot of fan translations into games and such. A lot of the patching tools that you use for those include, like, Lua scripts that you patch for, like, older games, but, like, the newer stuff has to use this JS ROM patcher. In terms of other games, I mean, Pokemon ROM hacks, this, Portal 64, and, yeah, really that's kind of the whole spiel of what's going on there. Hopefully, well, the preservation teams have already taken care of this. Internet Archive already has, like, most of the files already hosted, and you can build your own versions based on, like, what James Lambert has already made available. The game's not complete. There's a GitHub page that you can look at for, like, what's not quite done yet, but a lot of it actually did end up being finished. It looks incredible. A lot of the textures that they use, like, in-game are rendered, like, with a specific texture shading technique that was, like, made well after the N64 was out of its, like, modern development lifecycle. Like, this stuff is pretty. I'll leave some links in the show notes. His own, like, shader that he created for, like, N64 stuff. This specific shader, there's videos on it. I'll link to that video. Yeah, in terms of, like, mods that are out there, Nintendo may or may not be coming for you, but, like, Valve was the one that fired the gun here. Valve is the company that's, like, trying to take these cautions over what might be going on here, and, generally, yeah, just trying not to be dumb with, like, your own stuff that you put out there. Like, it's even hard if you're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
It's just a really dicey situation overall, and I hope the best for modders out there. Just remember, keep your head low if you have a really cool project, and don't tell anyone about it until, like, you're ready to kind of make it.
Isn't that what they did?
Like, it's really impressive stuff, but, like, at the same time, just keep your head low about it.
Yeah, isn't that what the person who behind Zelda Link's Awakening Deluxe version or whatever did? He finished it,
yeah.
Not released the whole damn thing, and then there was nothing to track him to, and he just
LADX
left. And he left.
Yeah, that was like an HD sort of thing. Yeah, he just made a itch.io account. He put it out there. Nintendo instantly took it down.
But it's already out there, and no one can pin it to anybody but that weirdo. Like this random account it was made for.
Yep,
nothing attached to it.
Version 1 and only.
He did exactly what you're basically supposed to do, as it turns out.
Well, I'm not going to advocate for piracy here, but yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you're going to be doing something stupid like that, you got to do it the right way.
I'm just saying don't be stupid, period. We're not going to stop talking about these mods and games, though, because they are really cool. Like, when the devs really want this stuff to be heard, we're going to share the word. So, in terms of other mods to talk about, we had a really great experience with one in particular this week.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're going to talk about the Mario 64 multiplayer project, let's call it. I think it's like a whole thing remade for like PC and C, because like it was all like completely reverse engineered, so they don't have to worry about anything with what I was talking about in our last segment. You just provide a ROM, it does the thing for you, and you can play this online, and it is seamless. It is great fun. It runs natively, the effects are beautiful. I was running this on my gaming PC at 144 frames per second, and like the movement is butter. Oh my god, this is like N64 gaming like I never thought I would actually see.
Yes, okay. So, specifically, the name of what we used is called Super Mario 64 Co-op DX.
Right, there's multiple versions of like Mario 64 multiplayer that are like split screen, but this is different.
And there's like forks of this online multiplayer for Super, because I've seen it before, but it wasn't like this. Like there was a version I remember where each of the playable characters you could choose had different differences. Where Waluigi was the glass cannon who was better at everything, but he took double damage. Basically, Waluigi let you break the game over your knee, but the game would break him over its knee if you let it.
And like Mario 64 DS pioneered like the characters with differences sort of thing with like Luigi, Wario, and like Yoshi in the game.
Yoshi.
So that's just building off of that one.
Yeah. But so we did that. And the way you said it, like you said, is you download it, you get a ROM somewhere, somehow. Not gonna talk about it.
Legally,
And then
preferably.
and then you drag it onto the executable, and it creates the actual thing you run to play the game. And we decided to play with we had like a couple. We had like one major mod on the day night system.
Yeah,
which
that changed some of the music in the game to have like a MIDI sort of feel to it.
well, yeah, I mean it was already MIDI. It's all MIDI. It's the
Right,
fucking
yeah.
N64.
Right.
So, but the MIDI changes a lot of the instruments to be more nighttime sleepy-esque, except for Shifting Sandlands, where instead of it making you want to go to sleep, it makes you want to put a bullet in your head because it sucks.
The composition for Shifting Sandland in night mode is not good.
It's not good.
There were two examples that I used for our playthrough, Red. I used, like, for the overall theme of, like, how the music feels, like the day and night shift, the minigame Bird and Bean from, like, one of the WarioWare microgames is how I would describe that, how the music shifts over there. However, with Shifting Sandland, it goes from that to being the music in Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood on DS.
Yo, what did they do to Diamond Dust Zone? What happened? Why does it sound so dinky?
It just sounds so not complete, or like that they just did such a half-assed job of just like putting it through whatever tool recomposed the music, and it's just incomplete.
And to be clear, the reason that game is so bad is because even though it was made by BioWare, it was like this completely new team for some reason.
Right.
No one knows what the fuck happened. It was dumb. Anyways, to get off Sonic Chronicles, I don't want to touch that. Get away from me.
Run.
We're going back to...
We're
going to talk about... So the main issue I have with Shifting Sandlands in the day-night cycle was at night, you can barely see where all of the different, like, insta-kill quicksand is, because nighttime is stupid dark. And I have to deal with that while the music sounds god-awful. I was trying to do 8 red coins in the pitch blackness with this goddamn clown music playing. It was awful.
I had to fly in with the wing cap and just get the rest of the coins for you, because you just had it at that point.
Like, I was worried I was going to die. I was pissed off by the music. It was just so many things going wrong at once, and then we eventually got it. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
We did a 120-star playthrough, by the way.
The net code, I want to shout out to the net code, because like I said with like the game and the graphics being seamless, like the connection was also seamless. Not a single disconnect throughout that, and like we wouldn't have even known. Like we just felt like we were playing like together in the same room practically.
Yeah, basically.
It was good enough to just like, if one player dies, by the way, you actually get kicked out of the level, but you keep all the progress as long as the other player is there. So like new Super Mario Brothers rules. So
and you could even
that
go
makes the game a lot more just engaging to kind of just like go through in case you do die.
And to go off that new Super Mario Bros. Wii feel, there was actually an option to turn on a bubble, which I turned off because I wanted more.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I wanted a more authentic experience. I also turned on friendly fire.
That was at the end of our 120-star run, yeah.
when I activated the gun mod as well.
No, I'm misremembering. Friendly fire as in, like, you just do damage to each other, not the literal gun mode.
Yeah, that was what we did at the very end as a celebration. And we, but like he and I was playing as Waluigi, he was playing as Wario.
Yeah.
And you can also choose alt colors for each of the characters. And I chose the Wario, it's the Woods Nemesis or whatever. It's the palette of Wario in Wario's Woods for the NES, where he's like this weird pink gremlin. And that's just on Waluigi instead.
Right.
But to go off a little bit. So I had another mod that tracked your individual stars. So like if you picked up a star, it would add 1 to your counter, right?
Yep.
I ended with 69 stars.
So 120-star run, and you ended with 69. I ended with 51.
Exactly. I'm very proud of that.
We were like having little competitions of who's going to actually pick up the stars at the end of the levels and stuff. Like, just fighting each other over it. It's great.
It was very fun. There was a lot of attempts. And speaking of the rage you mentioned of mine earlier.
Yeah.
TikTok Clock and Rainbow Ride.
I was saying that, like, as we were playing through the game, it's like, some of it was a little excruciating. It was great because friends were there, but, like, the fact that we had to go through Rainbow Ride, it's just like, oh god, we have to do this at one point. And then we actually get there, and it's like, oh god, this is so much worse than I was anticipating.
Because it's like,
dreadful.
We're not, the fucking red coins maze is so stupid. I missed every blue coin except the first one. Because to get all the blue coins, you have to do like a series of perfect wall jumps. And if you mess up even once, even on the first one, you're not going to have enough time to get up there and get all the coins. So I missed all of them.
Well,
it was stupid.
My top problem was that I was going for the star to try to get carpetless on the ship. And that was a big mistake. You just needed to ride the damn thing. That was my fault. I forgot.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was trying to do it. I was like, wait a minute, I need to ride the fucking thing, don't I? Well, actually, the actual carpetless star is the one at the top of that shitty building where people eventually figured out how to do a carpetless, because that shit's slow. Mm-hmm. That shit is slow as shit. So finding a carpetless thing was fucking a holy grail for them. I did not do that because I'm not that good. I just rode the carpet up.
I think I got all the item switches in the run because like basically they're really just spread out. You get the red one early on, and then you just like get metal and invisibility at the same time.
Yeah, you get metal invisibility in the second in the basement.
Yeah,
you were the one doing those missions while I was like clearing out other areas.
Yeah, like it was actually kind of strategic to just divide and conquer at a couple of points instead of just like being at the same mission at any given time. Like you can do that too in this mod, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, being in the same mission means you share coins, so you can both work on the 100 coin star. Yeah. If one of you dies, you don't lose all the coins, which is like the biggest problem with the 100 coin star. I also turned on fast. I just remember I turned on fast swimming, so we weren't
so the swimming wasn't like the most excruciating thing. Doing like Dire Docks and Jolly Roger Bay,
doing Dire Docks, that shitty coin ring right near the exit to the moat.
Yeah,
that's so stupid. Fuck.
I'm glad that we got like enough of the coins on the first run through of that to actually not have to reset. That was great.
Some of the game design in that fucking game makes me question what the hell they were doing. It's like, the fuck do you mean you put a bunch of required coins near an exit that literally sucks you into it? Like, fuck you. Why did you make it suck you in? Fuck you, Miyamoto.
Amazing game design.
Amazing game design. It's Miyamoto's passion. We did do the 5 in Bob-omb Battlefield. We did do the 5 rings without the wing cap. That was pretty neat.
That was nice. Yeah, we just kept launching ourselves out of the cannon. It's like, oh, we're gonna do this one. Nope, gotta go back.
And that was also where we got our 100 coin star. That was our 100 coin star too. So we had to aim at that too. I left it for you. I left it for you to get, and you missed it.
Look, it was just there. I picked up another star though, like in the cannon, so that was fine. It's fine.
Fucking hoser.
Yep. So we did end up finishing the game completely like that. We ganked Bowser, and it was fun. This is a 100% like recommend to anyone that has like grown up with Mario 64, seen other people playing Mario 64. Heck, if you don't even know about Mario 64, this is the best like kind of entrance to it. Just like playing with your friends in a game experience like this. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs way up. This is probably like something that I would recommend to just people like even outside of our show. Just like play this mod. It's brilliant.
2 thumbs so far up that I think I took pills for this. My thumbs have grown beyond what they should be.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We are hosted on mask31.dev/the-Reddmasq-podcast. You can also find us on Pocket Casts and wherever great podcasts are found.